9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Baseball family, we are here. We are live. We are thrilled to bring you the news. I know most of you are probably tracking this already, but baseball is back. To
It's
quote
back,
our
baby.
man, Jeff Passan. He has made it clear that baseball is back, and we are thrilled. We decided to, Brad and I, Brad's over there. He's here.
I'm here. Yes.
Yeah, we wanted to come to you live and bring you these announcements. So we know it's a little off the beaten path for us, but it's just too exciting.
It's so exciting, Brig. I was sitting in a meeting, just feverishly refreshing Twitter as it was coming down to the wire. I was like, oh my gosh, come on. And they're like, the votes are coming in. I'm like, oh my, refresh. Then I saw 2 or 3 people say it was good to go. It was official, but I wanted to get one more. And actually some guy unmuted himself just as I was about to. It said, they just made a deal. Baseball's back, which is actually really cool because as a team, we were supposed to go to a spring training game next week, but it got canceled like last week, I think. So
because of the shenanigans.
So I don't know if they're going to make that happen again or what, but instead we're doing Top Golf. But
Top Golf is pretty cool, but it's not as cool as baseball.
Not nearly as cool as going to a baseball game.
No way,
but,
Jose.
There will be more times, and this means that when Wilson and I go to the backfields this weekend, we're going to get to see plenty of players who are not minor leaguers, because that's what we were going to see before, right? It's just going to be minor leaguers. So that's
right. Well, and so let's jump into this. We need to give you some updates on what the new CBA says, what it is, what the stipulations are. I don't even know how to use my words right now, but let's get into the details of the CBA, and then we'll talk about what baseball looks like this year, because it is here. So spring training facilities, first thing, they open Friday, March 11th. That's tomorrow. If you're listening live. So Friday, March 11th will be the days that players are allowed to start reporting to their training facilities if they so choose. They have to be there by Sunday the 13th. That's 2 days from now. So if you are planning or you do want to go to a spring training game, you probably can, because they start on March 17th. So if that's something you're interested in and that's something you want to do, bingo, there's your chance.
And for those of you who had your tickets booked and everything for the end of the month, good thinking on you. That's a great job, because you're going to get to go to a game. That's exciting and fantastic. And one of the first things that I thought of, Brig, when I saw these dates was I was like, man, some poor equipment manager for each team is going to be scrambling, absolutely scrambling the next 48 hours to get these guys' lockers set up.
That's exactly right.
Because they might have just been like, don't have to worry about it yet. You know? So
you got to know they've got inside people though, sending doves and pigeons and stuff like that. I would think
so, but I don't know though, man. Like, were they prepared last week? Was everything ready to go last week or not?
I don't know.
Kind of one of those things.
It's a great question. The final votes though were interesting. The owners had unanimous 30-30 voted positively to ratify the new CBA, the CBA we have now. And the players did not. It was still not unanimous on the player side. We had 26-12. So that's one player rep from each team, plus the 8 executive committee members that are the players' representatives. And we've mentioned them in the past. So that's who makes up that 38 group of voters.
Right. Well, I think the important thing to come with that, though, is that all 8 members of the executive committee voted against the CBA, which is an interesting thing, because so here's something: is Max Scherzer specifically is on that committee. He's one of
He's been the loudest.
He has been, absolutely. But kind of there towards the wire, I'd say last 10-15 minutes, maybe even 5-10 minutes. People were saying Mets players are really against this because of the penalties that come with the 4th tier of violating, or I guess surpassing, the competitive balance tax, because what they were afraid of was that it was going to kind of curb the spending of their team. that like they've already, I mean, Cohen's already spent a boatload of money on that team, and they still want more guys, obviously,
Super duh.
but at the same time, though, he has not shown any level of responsibility as far as spending goes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go above and beyond to continue to bring more guys in.
For sure. This isn't going to dissuade him. And he knows it's the first year of the new CBA. So,
and he voted for it.
Right. So, it might be one of those things where he's like, I'll take one for the team, fall on my sword, be the example. Okay.
This is the thing.
We bring home the championship. What do I care? Right.
Exactly. That's one of the things we've seen with him is he wants to win. Like he really wants to win. So I think that's a big part of it. If I was a Mets player, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I think that he's going to continue to make the moves that need to be done to win, because you got a big monster on the other side of town that you got to compete with. So,
yep. And that is April 7th. They are inviting, let's see, the Subway Series does not kick things off, but the Red Sox are in town in the Bronx, and the Nationals are the opening series against the Mets, but that's in Washington. So anyway, so let's move on. The competitive balance tax, or the luxury tax as we've previously referred to it, it's gone from $230 million to a $244 million over the 5-year deal. So it's a tiered approach, if I'm reading this right.
Yeah. And to me, that makes sense. That's what most leagues do. And typically there's a clause in there that says they can reevaluate how things are going. Like if there's like a really bad financial year, say there's some kind of financial disaster, like maybe the 2020 COVID season, right? And the league's like, we just flat out cannot make that work. Like, we got to stay. And I don't think they can drop it, but I think they can stay put for a year is typically how that will go. But honestly, there's no reason for it not to go up every year. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Especially with the new TV deals.
Well, and not only, because Apple TV jumped on. Did you see that?
Apple TV,
Friday Night Baseball. Yeah, Amazon Prime.
On it too. So yeah, there's a lot of new TV money coming in.
It's going to be a big deal, a lot of big deals. But even if they do need to change a rule, don't worry, because the 45-day window for rule changes somehow made it through.
So I was thinking about this, Brig, and we were talking about how like changing the rules in the middle of the game. I honestly think that that it's like 45 days before the start of the season. So like you can go through spring training, right? Like I think that's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only reason to me that this would make sense, unless there's some emergency clause in there. But that's the one thing that makes sense for this thing to actually work, rather than changing the rules in the middle of the game. So
anyway, let's see. So the minimum salaries have been a huge deal, especially for the guys under 3 years of service time. That has been addressed, what seems to me, very successfully. Previously, it has been $570,500. It has gone up to $700,000, and it's set to grow into $780,000 floor over the next 5 years of the CBA.
That's a fantastic win for the players. That's a big time win, because the owners were really stuck in the mud, not wanting to go above. I think it was like 650 at one point.
Yeah, 625, 650.
Yeah. So that's a big win for the players. The other one is the pre-arbitration bonus pool. That is something that is completely new to this collective bargaining agreement. That was non-existent at all. And the owners really were like, 10 million. We'll give you 10 million for these guys for a long time. And the players obviously wanted 100, which I thought made sense, but that's one thing that they finally just split in the middle, and we're like, okay, 50 million. There we go. Like, it makes sense.
It does make sense. And it makes sense that we not only have an opportunity to incentivize the young players and their talent, but also the teams to bring up the young players. So this pre-arbitration bonus pool is going to go a long way toward that anti-service time manipulation thing. That's one of the functions of this, for those of you that, maybe wonder what that means and why it's important. So, but that's good. That's really cool. And you're right, Brad. They met in the middle, and they finally found a way to see things. They're like, we can agree to disagree, but we can still find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. So,
and I think it'll go a long way as well to helping guys stay put, rather than teams being like, he's a pre-arbitration guy, we don't want to go into arbitration with him because we don't want to pay him, so let's trade him. Instead, he can stay put. The team's going to get some money to help him, or to help pay him, and they'll go from there. So I think that will help as well. Teams like the Pirates and the Orioles don't seem to like to fork out any money for young talent. So
no doubt. The postseason will now include 12 teams no matter what. It will not be 14. Hallelujah, praise, and all that. Says I.
12 makes sense.
12's fine.
Not only given the current situation, like the current layout of the league, but also once we get 2 more expansion teams in the next 3, 4, 5 years, whenever it is.
Yes, sir.
And we have 32 teams. 12 is going to be the perfect number.
Absolutely agree with you. 14 would feel like 12 does now, where it's like, it's okay. But you're right. When we get to 32 teams, 12 is going to be flawless.
Yeah,
Love
absolutely.
it. And we are getting to 32 teams. Ladies and gentle people, it is going to happen. All right.
It is. And I got more on that in a little bit. Go ahead with the next one, Brig.
Okay, the next one is there will be advertisements on jerseys and helmets coming up.
How do you feel about that? Before we get too deep into this break, how do you feel about ads on the jerseys and helmets?
So I hated it just summarily. I was so utterly against it and offended until I saw the games in London, and now I'm utterly offended, but with evidence.
Okay. you did not go the direction I thought you were going to. And see, I don't care, honestly. It's not that big of a deal to me because every other league, like every other country in the world, Brig, has advertisements on their uniforms for every stinking sport. Soccer's been doing it forever. Everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world they've been doing it. You go to Mexico and watch baseball. You go to Japan, Korea, they have ads on their uniforms and their helmets. And yeah, it's a little strange at first, but 2 years from now, you won't even notice it.
Brad,
like the NBA did it. The NBA did it, and you can hardly tell. It's part of the uniform now. It's not a big deal.
Let me ask you this, Brad. If all your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge too?
Yeah, I've done it.
I am just not nearly as bothered about this as I'm going to keep being. This is a deliberate decision I've made to just decide this is the thing I'm pissed off about. So I'm upset. I'm upset about it. Baseball should be exclusive in some ways, and that includes no metal bats and no friggin' advertisements on the players' uniforms. So
I don't have a problem with it.
I'm blowing raspberries at you right now, Brad.
That's fine. I'll blow them right back.
Just because I decided. Okay, some of the new rules that are going to be implemented along the way. This goes into the 45-day rule change, but over the next couple of years, specifically for the 2023 season is the target, then we are going to start looking at pitch clock, banning the shifts, larger bases, and some of those smaller rules that aren't necessarily core economics things, but that have a lot to do with the function of gameplay and on-the-field action. So, Brad, do you have opinions on those? Like, why are they... Because let me say this first. We knew these were chess pieces being moved around this whole time.
Right, and we knew they were likely to be coming that, and we've talked about them a lot, right?
Yes.
Like the pitch clock is the one that I've had the most issue with to date, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm probably not even going to notice it. It's not going to be something that... And really all the pitch clock is enforcing a rule that's been in place for 100 years that has not been enforced.
That's right.
That's all it is.
It just banning the shift.
Banning the shift. I don't like the shift from a defensive aspect just because it's too easy to beat. Like it gets beat a lot if guys are actually trying to.
Yeah.
So there's that, So I don't care either way. It shouldn't have to be banned, but it is. And larger bases, I don't feel like we're really going to notice. I saw a picture of them side by side, and it looks significant, but at the same time, sitting in the stands, I can notice. There's sometimes I go out on my son's coach pitch field, and I'm like, this base feels enormous.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So. My biggest thing about the base sizes is like I saw somebody posted a meme, and maybe it was a Twitter account where they said, of all the issues with fixing baseball, like of all the things that make you think like what is wrong with the greatest sport ever, what can we change to really drive improvement? And a larger base is never ever even on the list. Like where did this even come from? And it just feels like gravy on the train for this negotiation. Now, I understand why it's going to be positive for base runners, and I understand like some of those knick-knack.
The game of
my
inches,
brain
Brig.
just- That's right. It's the inches thing, but it was emphasized more heavily in the negotiations from where we sat anyway than it deserved to be, I think.
Right. Yeah.
That's all.
It was a bigger item than maybe I thought it should have been, because I mean, we talked on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day that was that episode came out, about the international draft, and that ended up being a big hang up this last week too. And
Yeah.
a lot of us were like, where did this come from? Like, this wasn't
Yeah.
even an issue. But Max Scherzer said this was brought up. We said that it wouldn't be an issue to hang things up right now, so we didn't address it. But now it's a thing. So
Right.
they've both decided that they're going to kind of table it for now, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like, they've got a few months to work it out.
That's right.
And if it doesn't get worked out, then they'll go back to draft pick compensation, which is something players don't like because it disincentivizes teams to keep guys around to pay them, because they're like, well, we'll just get a draft pick for you. So if the international draft ends up going through, then they will get to keep draft pick compensation. But yeah, that's a whole big thing going on right now as well. So
same with the universal DH. I feel like that was the first decision that was made. Everybody but me agreed with it, and it's done.
Well, and one thing, Brig, so this is what I was going to go back to with expansion, is that I think baseball is trying to work toward having basically just a unified league, right? Because the American League and the National League initially were two separate things, and then they combined and became Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I think that they're like, this has been going on long enough. We need to have a unified league. We've got interleague play.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have the universal DH. I think I don't know that they're necessarily trying to get rid of American League, National League, but I think what it is once we go to realign, everything's going to be seamless.
Yeah.
I think is really what that is that they're gripping for realignment with this.
Yeah. And when you add two new teams, that's going to happen. It will. And I don't know if it'll go east west like the NBA does or whatever, but there's going to be some sort of shift. Baseball couldn't do east west, but you know what I mean? Like they're
right. I think they'll keep. I think they'll keep
old school.
I think they'll keep. I think they'll keep American League, National League, but they're going to go to 4 divisions.
That's what I want.
I think they're going to have more of an NFL model than an NBA model.
That's what I want. Well, that's old school, and I like it better. It's more in line with the old school pennant races, and that's what I want. So,
yeah.
But I've been saying
you and a lot of other
years.
In a previous life, Brig was calling for pennant races.
I was in a previous life, and in this one, maybe I was Abner Doubleday when I was in a previous life.
Maybe.
Or Kennesaw Mountain Landis. I don't know. That doesn't sound right. I am a stick in the mud, though. Anyway, draft picks. Oh, first of all, draft lottery is implemented now.
I am pumped about this one. I love the draft lottery. Like and to me, it's a simple answer, right? If you've got 12 teams making the playoff, you've got 18 teams that are not. Everybody gets one ping pong ball. Just randomize that order, and just do it that way. Like, I don't understand why it's like, well, we only want 5 teams in the lottery, or we only want 3 teams that are lottery, and then go, no, don't make it complicated. Disincentivize tanking entirely, and just give everybody one ping pong ball and give them a shot to go first. I don't care if they miss the playoff by a game. Give them a chance to get that first pick.
Yep.
I don't know. That's a no-brainer to me, because I feel like everybody would be trying to win at that point if they have an equal shot at the first pick.
That's all we care about, is everybody trying to win.
Yeah.
Play competitive baseball. It's the same reason we got super pissed at Acuna Jr. for loafing, right? It's like, come on. But we got entire franchises doing that.
Well, this is the thing, too. This is the thing, is that, like, I don't care, and I don't even care how you go about winning. Like, you can spend all your money and try to win, or you can spend or you can spend no money and try to win, because nobody has a problem with the Rays. The Rays are not spending any money, but they're winning. Everybody has a problem with the Pirates because they're not spending any money and they're not winning.
That's right.
So, I don't know. I feel like the Pirates might be more incentivized to try to win.
Hopefully.
I would think.
Oh, I
I
mean,
don't know.
come on.
Because we
Something's
saw
got to give.
Well, because we saw with the Astros, it works.
Yeah.
It definitely works. So, I mean, as long as you've got the system in place, it's going to work. So there's really no incentive to try to win if you don't have the guys in place right now.
Yeah.
So,
But under the new deal with the lottery,
it's
hopefully
there.
that'll go a long ways.
I hope so. I sure
Yeah.
hope so.
So we're also going to see draft pick inducements to discourage service time manipulation. Service time manipulation is a huge problem, something we got to solve as baseball family. And this is hopefully going to be another step. Do you like this rule as well, Brad?
I do, yeah, because they're basically getting compensated a draft pick if a guy comes up and does well, right?
Yeah,
Rather than keeping him down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's great, just because I mean, for me, like I'm gonna probably get to see Julio Rodriguez on opening day.
Yeah, you probably will.
So
Add
that's a
that
big
to the
deal.
pre-arbitration pool, and it's pretty good incentives to bring that guy up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're also along the same lines going to limit the number of times players can be optioned down back to the minor leagues in one season, which will make strategic decisions really important.
It kind of makes you right. It makes you manage that cooler a little bit better, right? Because you kind of have guys like right now you've got the 26-man roster at the big league level, and you kind of have like the 27 and 28 guys.
Yeah.
Right. Who it's like, oh, we got an injury. We need to fill a spot. So you bring that guy up for 5 days. Okay, this guy's back. Let's send him back down. Oh, we got another injury. Bring him up, then send him back. You can't do that anymore. You have to be more strategic with it. You've got to have a longer list of guys you can bring up and maybe keep around for a little bit longer. I don't know. But yeah, you can't just be dipping in and out of the cooler every day the way that they've been able to in the past. So this will give more guys a chance to accrue service time, I feel like, rather than just having up to 30 guys in and out of that clubhouse.
Well, and it'll also encourage, or what we'll see play out is guys that are bad, they'll just be bad, right? And because they can't send them back down, what are they just going to bench them? Especially
if they send them back down, they don't come back up.
That's right, and that's going to be hard. That's going to be a tough play or a blow against the players, right? Because a lot of guys can get lost in the shuffle, or earn their keep by being the shuffle guy, right? So I
talked to a former player in the summer 2016 who was with the A's, and he said Billy Beane straight up told me I was the 26th man. He said if I could have 26 guys in this clubhouse, you would be there. He's like, I told him, like, Billy, don't mess with me like that. He's like, and I was. He's like, anytime there was an injury, I was back up with the big club. As soon as that guy came back, I was back down in AAA.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly how it worked with him all season long.
Yeah. That's rough. Well, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out long term. It's going to be one of those things that we won't probably see day to day, but unless it's our favorite player. But what we'll see is like career-ending situations. This is going to be backstory stuff that's going to come out much, much later. Games are scheduled to start April 7th, baseball family. Super excited to bring you that news. Additionally, there will be a full 162 games this season.
Huge deal.
Huge.
Because old Rob told us that he had canceled those games already.
Yeah. Well, we already questioned his authority, so
we did. We've been questioning his authority for some time. But here's the big thing, though, Brig. Like, what else can he say and then come back on?
Right.
Because he canceled the first series. He canceled the first 2 series. He canceled the next 2 series, and then now we're getting all of them. So I would almost have more respect for him if he kept all those games canceled than if he had come back now and said, "Oh well, let's go ahead and play 162 because it behooves everyone financially."
Right. Yeah, and rush spring training, and it's going to be interesting.
But I'm very excited. The Padres are going to be in town.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably going to need to get myself a ticket.
Well, and I'm coming to see you in April, so
we'll go to a game.
We should go to a game. 9-inning doubleheaders are back, says the rumor mill. Very excited about that. Right? This is less verified information, but so far I understand.
No, this is all confirmed.
This is still legit. Okay, 9-inning doubleheaders, and there will not be a runner on second base during extra innings.
No more ghost runner. Thank goodness.
What? Yes.
Seriously,
I
of all the
hated that.
things they could have done to try to speed up the game, that was oof.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Didn't yeah.
Oh.
It's like we talked about. You look down at your phone during the commercial, you come back, and then there's a runner getting bunted over or coming around to score in the top of the 10th. Like, oh wait, what did I miss? How long was I on my phone?
We are going to be telling stories about that until we're dead. We'll be like, this one time in baseball history, right?
And
You'll
there were
never
7-inning
believe what
doubleheaders.
these clowns did. Yeah,
You could listen to an entire doubleheader in a shift at work and not miss an inning.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Should we shift into free agents a little bit, or did you want to talk more CBA stuff?
Let's shift into free agents because free agency is, I believe, officially open.
It is open season right now.
So
it's open
yeah,
season.
so there's going to be a frenzy. I mean, we saw what happened between the end of the season and the lockout.
Yep.
I think it's going to be even crazier, honestly.
I think so too.
I have Twitter up right now.
Okay.
I'm a little behind on my timeline, but I don't see anything yet. So
yeah, I haven't seen any updates.
I probably won't be sleeping tonight. I'll be honest with you.
That's how I was feeling.
Because
I
I'm
didn't sleep
waiting
last night. So.
I'm waiting, Brig, for Chris Bryant to the Mariners. I'm waiting for that one. So
you've been talking about that,
dude. Look at this. Michael Balco of ESPN and USA Today says Chris Bryant is being heavily sought after by the Seattle Mariners. Paul Sewald, Jewel and I talked about this on our podcast. Paul Sewald has been recruiting him heavily, really trying to get him to come to Seattle.
Right.
And there's some weight to that because Sewald got Chris Bryant to change colleges and go play with him.
That's right.
They're boys.
True.
So
true fact, homie.
It could happen.
It could happen. But where would you put him?
Third base. Got a big fat hole there.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Got an answer for you.
You trust him?
And I do. In fact, I am working on an article that's going to go up on baseballtogether.com probably tomorrow about how Chris Bryant fits in with that spot that Kyle Seager left with his retirement. So, yeah. Chris Bryant fits there. Seiya Suzuki is another big one. So, this is the thing, is there's all these big free agents, right? We got Carlos Correa, Freddie Freeman, Trevor Story, Clayton Kershaw, Chris Bryant, Matt Olson and Matt Chapman are apparently on the trade block with the A's, it seems like.
Yeah, could be.
But Seiya Suzuki, coming from Japan, is a big deal. He
Huge
plays
deal.
outfield, he plays third base, and they say he's going to be better than Ichiro simply because he's willing to hit for power. And he can. And with no shift, that's a really big deal.
With no shift, that is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are some guys to keep an eye on. I honestly, Brig, I bet Carlos Correa goes to New York. I bet Carlos Correa is a Yankee this year.
I bet you're right. I can see that.
I think that's what's going to happen. And Freddie Freeman is still the wild card.
Dude. Yes. And it's not he's not going to go to the Mets.
No, he's not going to the Mets. Not. I don't think he's going to the Yankees either.
He's not going to the Yankees.
I think he's going to go somewhere we would never have expected.
Yeah.
I don't think it's somebody we could look at today and be like, yeah, that's a good fit for Freddie Freeman.
Right. Like if he ended up in Cincinnati, we'd be like, what?
Well, for a lot of reasons, Joey Votto being one of them.
Well, but you know what I mean? It's going to be mind blowing.
DH.
Yes, there is.
Can you imagine,
my friend?
Think of this: Joey Votto as your DH in the National League. You could give him another contract.
Yeah, you could. you actually, you really could.
I think, and no shift.
Whoa!
Joey Votto's just had 4 years to his career.
4 years and a whole bunch of batting average points.
Yep. Yeah. He might be our universal DH winner.
Yeah, actually, he might be. Would he? Do you think he'd give up playing though in the field?
I think he would.
Yeah,
If it means he gets to keep playing, yeah, I would.
Yeah, he probably would. I think you're right.
So I don't know. But
well, Yankees fans need shortstops. Jacob Rogers just confirmed that. Thanks, Jacob. Denise, you're here. Jason's here. Well, shaken. Thank you for coming. Yes, we got to get a shortstop. You're right. I wouldn't mind a third baseman.
Oh, I'm sure. Do you think the Yankees have the assets to trade for Matt Chapman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
if nothing else, money, right?
Well, money, but if you're just trading straight up player for player, and dang it, the kids in the league that comes before
the prospects.
Thank you.
Now they're the kids. Now we're trading kids.
Holy cow! Dang, the prospect. Thank you. If you add that to the prospects, yes, it's totally doable. I think we could get a shortstop and a quality third baseman in this free agent frenzy that we're going to be having.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Correa is just straight up money. I mean, and the Yankees have that. That's not going to be a big deal.
No.
Chapman, you're going to have to trade probably a couple prospects and probably some money because that's something the A's don't have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, what I want to see though is who we're going to get rid of in New York. I have some hopes and dreams, but if you want to hear about that, you'll have to listen to the Bronx Rooter podcast.
Here's one. Jacob Rogers with the new DH. Luke Voigt got a lot sexier for the NL2 for a trade since they threw him away.
100 bazillion%.
Isn't he your guy, though,
sir.
Brig? Isn't he
I
your
love
guy?
Luke Voigt. Yeah, I love Luke Voigt. And if we're going to lose Rizzo.
Yeah, Rizzo's not coming back.
He's not coming back. So if we're going to lose Rizzo, then I don't know who's going to play first base right now.
Probably Luke Voigt.
Wouldn't bother me.
There you go.
Get rid of Giancarlo Stanton and make Luke Voigt your DH in New York.
There you go.
You don't have to say that I'm right. You just have to watch me be right.
It will come to fruition in the next 48 hours.
Oh, man.
Excellent.
Brad, why don't you tell people that we have Patreon for a minute?
I will. People, we have Patreon. This is the newest, most exciting, and easiest way to support the podcast. For less than one of Briggs' bougie cups of coffee a month, you can support the podcast with, we have 3 different tiers. We have $5, $10, $15 tiers that come with either a hat, a t-shirt, or both, depending on the level that you choose. And our favorite thing right now that we're offering is the uncut, unedited version of the podcast called The Bullpen Cut. This is a little bit of a preview of that because we just kind of got on, hit record, and we started. But you're going to get all of it. You're going to get it every single episode, audio and video, with the Bullpen Cut there with Patreon. There's some more behind the scenes and other access things that you can get based on, again, the tier. But hop on over to patreon.com/baseball together, and you can find us, or just search baseball together and we'll come up. Or there's always a link in the description, just like there's always money in the banana stand, Brig.
That's right. Baseball family, before you let your family members listen to the Bullpen Cut, you should know that it is an unedited, uncensored cut of the show.
It is not the family-friendly version.
No, what
makes it to air.
That's right. We make sure that the regular podcast show, that what we call the big show, is family-friendly so that our kids can listen to it along with yours. Any member of your family be totally safe to listen to it. The Bullpen Cut is not that way. Brad has he is just so Brad. I'm just kidding. But we do have a lot of fun. There's a lot of crazy jokes, and we share stories and things like that in between segments that don't make it to the regular show that you'll have access to. So it's a lot of fun. Yes, Denise, it is exactly what you've been waiting for. It is 100%. And we, Denise, the minute we see you sign up for that, we will ham it up just for you one time, and we will shout you out the whole way. So it'll be hilarious. Baseball family, don't forget to jump on the shop. We still do that. It's at 9plusus.com, NINEPLUSUS.com, 9plusus.com. Got my baseball together t-shirt on. Brad's wearing his perfect tee. I got my perfect hat on. And I don't know what hat Brad's wearing, but he's wearing a hat.
It's KBO.
Oh, it's KBO hat.
Yep.
Very cool. And notice our rally caps, we don't have to wear them anymore because we have baseball now.
That's right. Exactly.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and after you do all that stuff, head on over to baseballtogether.com where you can read about baseball, you can watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, all the fun stuff over there. There's always a link to the shop as well, and also a link to the mailbag. Hop in there and drop us an email. Let us know what you think. Send us your questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks. We love all of it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you think about how we're doing. And baseball family, with that, we will catch you the beginning of next week.